Welcome back to 7th Science. We're going to be looking at the history and importance of science, and we're going to be using our LearnEd notebooks for the first time this lesson. We're going to be looking at the definitions page, which will be helpful for you, as well as page 8. So we're going to skip through a bit of the first part of this, which is the bell ringers and lab supplies, since we're not going to be doing physical labs just yet. So page 8, we're going to start with the importance of science. As you navigate to your activity here, and I would suggest having a pencil ready for this, we're going to be looking at what the word science comes from. We're going to look at our essential question, what is science? We're going to do a couple activities within the Nearpod. You'll see there are some embedded activities there and a class poll, as well as a discussion linked to the end of this week's discussion. But we're going to be looking at Socrates, science-based inquiry, and the idea of challenging the world and reality as we know it to further science. So as you go through this activity, if there's a video of me overdubbing some of the slide, I suggest watching that. Otherwise, if there's another linked video or file, check that out. It's going to be helpful in learning about the history of science. Some of this might be an overview for you. If so, that's great. If this is new information, that's also great. So take your time, take some notes in your composition book. If you don't have one set up already for this class, it is a requirement for this class. We're going to use it for our science journal as we go. I would suggest putting in your schedule as well into it if you have a few extra minutes, and we will be doing science journal prompts this week as well. So make sure you have a science journal. As you go through, and if you hear something or read something interesting you don't know, I would suggest making note of that. Here on the slide, you'll see there's an essential question for every one of our activities in Nearpod, which is what is science for this one. Here is science, the state of knowing, and I've just taken down some short notes on what would help me. I've color coded it as well because there is some science behind color coding for all of you who like only doing it with pen and paper or pencil. It is actually, for a lot of people, easier to remember things if there's colors associated with them. So, fun fact. You'll see from me later this week as well some activities having to do with independent research, but for now, I want you to go through the activity in Nearpod, and at the end of the Nearpod activity, when you've reached the last slide, and you should have filled out a good section of page 8. That's as far as we're going to go in our notebooks, all the way down to right before observations. We're not going to get to observations until the next Nearpod activity. Once that's filled out, I'll have you take a picture of your LearnEd notebooks, upload it in this file assignment area, file submission area. And if that's not working for you for some reason, because Canvas is deciding to be grumpy or having issues, then you can always send me your picture in an email. If you have any questions, please send me an email as well, because that's the easiest for me to respond. And I look forward to seeing you on our Zoom meetings. If you need additional help with your assignment, again, email me.